US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has met with Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar at the Department of State in Washington, D.C., marking a continuation of high-level diplomatic engagement between the United States and Israel. The meeting took place on December 10, 2025, and was captured in newly released pool images from the State Department. The footage begins with Secretary Rubio and Foreign Minister Saar arriving at the entrance of the State Department. The two officials exchange a handshake before proceeding inside for their scheduled discussions. The tracking shots show both delegations walking together through the corridor, signaling the start of the bilateral engagement. The meeting comes at a moment of heightened regional and international attention as Washington continues to navigate multiple simultaneous foreign policy priorities. While the details of the private discussions between Rubio and Saar have not yet been released, the encounter underscores continued coordination between the United States and Israel on security, diplomatic, and strategic matters. The imagery provided from the December 10th session is part of a broader sequence of recent appearances by the Secretary of State. One day earlier, on December 9th, Marco Rubio arrived on Capitol Hill for meetings with congressional leadership. Those separate meetings focused on the administration's recent military strikes targeting suspected drug smuggling vessels in the Caribbean. Images from that visit show Rubio entering the Capitol for briefings with key lawmakers. The two sets of appearances, one involving the Israeli foreign minister and one involving congressional leaders, bookend a period of intense activity for the State Department. Officials in Washington have continued holding a steady cadence of engagements, addressing regional partnerships, national security priorities, and oversight of ongoing military operations. The December 10th imagery shows Saar and Rubio greeting each other formally, with standard diplomatic protocol observed. No statements were delivered to the press during the captured moments, and no questions were taken by either delegation. The recorded handshake and entrance walk-through remain the only publicly available visuals of the meeting. The State Department has not yet provided a readout of the conversation, and Israeli officials have also not confirmed any specific agenda points. However, their meeting comes at a time when US-Israel coordination remains central to several ongoing diplomatic files, including regional security discussions, defense cooperation, and multilateral engagements addressing broader Middle Eastern developments. Secretary Rubio's parallel engagement with congressional leaders on December 9th highlights the administration's continued effort to brief lawmakers on the scope, objectives, and legal basis for the military strikes conducted in the Caribbean. The images from Capitol Hill show him arriving for back-to-back sessions with leadership from both parties. As with the meeting with Saar, no public remarks were recorded in the footage released from the December 9th visit. Together, the December 9th and December 10th events reflect a concentrated period of activity for the Secretary of State, whose schedule has included both domestic legislative consultations and high-level diplomatic meetings. The close sequencing of these appearances underscores the administration's emphasis on maintaining communication channels with Congress while simultaneously advancing foreign policy discussions with key partners. The available footage from December 10th contains no audio formal remarks or press interactions. It consists entirely of the arrival sequence, including the handshake between Secretary Rubio and Foreign Minister Saar, followed by their movement inside the building. The images are restricted under distribution guidelines with limitations on access in several countries and regions. While no specific policy announcements accompanied the meeting, the presence of both senior officials at the State Department emphasizes the ongoing dialogue between Washington and Jerusalem. Diplomatic engagements at this level typically address a wide range of topics, including bilateral cooperation, regional security issues, and strategic coordination with broader international partners. The prior day's imagery from Capitol Hill similarly shows Rubio's continued involvement in shaping and explaining US actions abroad, particularly regarding the targeted military strikes on drug smuggling vessels. The administration has described these operations as part of a broader enforcement effort in the Caribbean, though full operational details have not been publicly disclosed. The consecutive nature of Rubio's appearances highlights the dual focus of the Secretary's responsibilities, managing critical diplomatic relationships while also ensuring oversight and legislative engagement regarding active US operations and foreign policy decisions. Across both sets of images, Secretary Rubio maintains the standard protocol of formal arrivals, brief interactions with staff, and movement toward closed-door meetings. His appearance alongside Saar demonstrates sustained coordination with Israel at a ministerial level, while the Capitol Hill visits underscore his continuous communication with congressional leaders on matters involving U.S. military activity. The December 10th meeting at the State Department follows a pattern of periodic consultations between the two governments. Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Saar has been engaged in multiple rounds of diplomatic outreach in recent months, seeking to coordinate policy positions with major partners. This engagement in Washington adds another layer to those efforts. The State Department has not indicated when a public statement or readout may be released. Until then, the meeting remains documented only through the restricted access imagery showing the arrivals and handshake. In the absence of public remarks, it is not yet known whether the two officials discussed ongoing regional tensions, bilateral defense cooperation, or broader strategic issues. However, the meeting's timing suggests it may be connected to active diplomatic files that require coordination between Washington and Jerusalem. As the United States continues operations in the Caribbean and as Israel remains engaged in a range of regional security matters, the continuation of high-level diplomatic dialogue underscores the importance both sides place on maintaining open channels. The lack of additional footage or audio means the available visual record is limited strictly to the documented movements of both delegations. The images of Secretary Rubio arriving for congressional meetings the prior day similarly provide no verbal context. The December 9th and December 10th visits were both conducted under standard pool coverage protocols. Distribution restrictions apply to several countries and regions, consistent with State Department guidelines. Because the December 10th meeting included no public statements, analysts will look to forthcoming official readouts to understand the scope of the discussion. Until then, only the logistical and visual details of the meeting are confirmed. The professional setting and structured protocol observed during the brief filmed moments reflect the routine nature of high-level diplomatic sessions. The handshake and arrival serve as the ceremonial opening to what is expected to have been substantive conversations behind closed doors. With Secretary Rubio continuing to manage a full agenda that includes military briefings, diplomatic engagements, and congressional consultations, the State Department's leadership role across multiple regions remains active. The documented movement of the delegations on December 10th is consistent with standard procedures for ministerial visits. Foreign Minister Saar's appearance in Washington signals Israel's ongoing effort to ensure close alignment with the United States across various areas of cooperation. As with the prior day's Capitol Hill meetings, the State Department has emphasized the importance of maintaining coordination on matters involving U.S. operations and regional stability. Rubio's visits illustrate the current administration's approach to blending diplomatic outreach with legislative engagement. The imagery capturing the handshake between Rubio and Saar remains the central visual record of this diplomatic interaction. No additional scenes were included in the released footage. This visit continues a long tradition of U.S.-Israel ministerial meetings held at the State Department, aligning with consistent bilateral engagement practices. The available visuals from both December 9th and December 10th reinforce the understanding that these meetings were conducted without public comment, emphasizing their closed-door diplomatic nature. The meeting between Secretary Marco Rubio and Foreign Minister Gideon Saar is now formally documented through the released images, marking another entry in the ongoing series of bilateral engagements between the United States and Israel. The situation now stands with the meeting completed, the footage released, and official readouts still pending from both governments.